in the morning. You got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say, we gon' be okay, we just gotta boom bada boom ba. I don't wanna fight, you know that I'm right, baby let me talk to your body. We gon' be okay, hear me when I say.
What happens when men don't get their needs met? In behavioral modification, in order for a person to get their needs met, there must be a process called active listening. When men are active listening, or when women are actively listening to the desires of their husbands, then the outcomes in general, or the outcomes of relationships, are normally positive. But however, there's been a countercultural movement where men appear to be divested. And there have been smaller groups such as SYSBM, MGTOW, IPMOR, and even a smaller group, BMO, where men are actually exercising their options due to the conditions that exist within the contextual framework of the United States. Often men are seen as the scapegoats in America. And scapegoat is an ego defense mechanism where one person is blamed for problems instead of the other person looking within their self. And because of this, these countercultural movements have appeared and blossomed, where men are no longer taking the abuse, the mental anguish, and the shame. When people don't get their needs met in behavioral psychology, they often go in a negative direction. So I want you to sit back, relax, and enjoy this show as you look at the contextual framework, as we look at the elements associated with why men are going their own way. Dr. Helen Smith talked about it in the past, but unfortunately many, especially in the therapist and counseling field, are not listening to the concerns and the pain of the American male, especially the black man. I want you to sit back and relax and enjoy this show. And I want you to look at the two elements from Manhood Highlights Daily and also from the show that I did. What happens when a man is shown reverence in his home, community, and also outside of his community? As you know, we've done several shows talking about and more or less highlighting the tragedy of where men are not given the love, reverence, and respect that they need, to the point that many men are actually going their own way, and many men are looking for love abroad in Afro-Latin countries where it's believed that those women are trained to be traditional wives. Reverence is an element that's based in behavioral psychology, which basically says that when a person is not getting their needs met, they result to behaviors good or bad that can be beneficial or negative to them. But as we move forward in this next chapter of the Manhood Chronicles and the Coaching Clinician, I want to thank some of the sponsors and subscribers that have more or less helped me push forth this movement and agenda. We're at 505 subscribers, and there have been some that's given in the cash apps, like the recent ones, like Starlet Thompson. Starlet, thank you for your kindness in helping me reach my goals. As you know, these shows are very time consuming as I'm a licensed clinical therapist. And I want to thank my man, Julio Ramondo. I want to thank Brother Levi Bond. I want to thank others that I haven't called out, P. Armour, and my man Gary Lynn Scott, and others that have been so supportive in helping me move forward this initiative as it relates to mental health. Mental health crises are one of the reasons why I started the Manhood Chronicles and the Coaching Clinician, but also why I became a licensed professional therapist. Father's Day is a day, as I said earlier, where men are not given the love and the respect that they need. And because of that, once again, men are going in other directions to find that love and respect. We're going to use a live Q&A, and I want you guys to join. I want the ladies to join as well. And we're going to examine, are Afro-Latina women the new black woman? Are Afro-Latina the new black woman for men of color in America? And we're going to more or less use this show to highlight the fact that regardless of where you go at, women are the same at their hard drive. All women are more or less the same at their hard drive, meaning they want protection, they want love, they want guidance, they want status, and they want a man that can be a man. And because you try to go to Afro-Latin countries to find women, it's not 100% guaranteed that they're going to be superior women. But here's the difference in an Afro-Latin woman versus most American women. Afro-Latin women are trained to be wives, so they have been conditioned to fight against their hard drive. It does not mean that some of those women don't have issues and don't run game, or don't use money or sob stories to get your support. But they have been conditioned to be wives. And because they've been conditioned to be wives, many men in America are actually looking for those women to be lifetime relationships, because they feel as though they give them the love, courage, and support they need in order to be the best versions of themselves. As I said in the past, Griez made a song called "It Feels So Good to Love Somebody and Somebody to Love You Back." And my man El Guapo is going to be on the show, as he did a great job talking to his beautiful La Bella. And I'm going to have another special guest, and I'm going to keep a secret that's going to be part of the show in this live Q&A, where we talk about why American men are actually leaving traditional relationships in America, and they're finding love through Afro-Latin women, because many assume that Latin women are not Black, but they are Black. So we're going to explore, and we're going to more or less expound on the topic once again. And we're going to look at it from a mental health crisis and a mental health perspective, why Black men are actually saying enough is enough, because as you know, needs drive behaviors. Now, I want you to remember this as it relates to the 7 principles of masculinity. If it ain't 7, it ain't kosher. If it ain't kosher, it ain't right. I'm going to drop some fire for your mind as we explore the dynamics of why African-American men are actually going to Afro-Latin countries, and are Afro-Latin women the new Black woman? Enjoy, be well. All right, brethren, I'm about to drop some fire for your mind on tonight. We got Brother Al Griez, the progenitor of Frustrated 1, 2, and 3. I'm going to call him the Moses of the BMO movement, representing. And then we got my man El Guapo from Beautiful Lives. Go support that brother on his YouTube channel. You know, if El Guapo was a radio speaker, or if he was speakers, he would be Bose. And I'll probably be Pioneer. You know, he got that smooth velvet Scotch voice. But I'll probably be some Pioneers, but he would be Bose. But then we got a brother that you guys are going to enjoy. We got the American Brazilian. This is a brother that was more or less within the confines of the Matrix. And the American Brazilian is going to give you key elements to why he found his wife in Brazil, and what's going on in America where men are not getting the needs that they want. So before we start, I want everyone to introduce themselves. This is Al. Tell them who you are, man, you know, and what's your mission and why you started the BMO movement.
Al Griez, filmmaker, director, producer, Frustrated Serious. I did not start the BMO movement. My work had a major impact in it, but Brother Charles Tyler started that and brought me in. And when he passed, I felt as a duty from what he started, man, to keep his legacy and stuff going, because I have some input based on my work that was involved in that. So I wanted to keep that going. So I didn't start the movement, but I'm continuing to keep it going and freeing brothers. Now, you said they call me the Black Moses. I'm not the Black Moses. I'm not going to take that title. I'm in the freeing brothers, man, one at a time, and from each trip. And once again, I'd like to thank you for joining us on that trip, man. I got you to come out there so you can experience from firsthand, so you can see the mission and stuff that we're trying to accomplish. So thank you for that, and that's what I'm about, man. I deal in frustration and trying to help alleviate brothers' frustration by traveling. And it doesn't necessarily. I'm fond of Brazil, but it doesn't necessarily have to be Brazil. I'm just happen to be fond of that place. It relieves my frustration when I go there. So I just try to include as many brothers as we can in our annual group trips, the annual BMO trips that we do 2-3 times a year.
Well, you know, Al, you know, we're going to drop some fire for the mind on tonight. And so before we start, guys, I want to thank the audience. Get the likes up. I'm grateful for the people that are actually watching. As a clinical therapist, I take this serious because there's not a lot of clinical therapists doing this. As I said in the past, I'm taking a risk because, you know, it's not necessarily PC, but it's needed. We need men to talk about the issues that are impacting Black men in America. So I've taken upon myself to bring clarity, balance, and peace to brothers that are suffering in silence, because Frustrated 1, 2, and 3 are really byproducts of men suffering in silence. So if you like what we're doing, please donate to 7 Smalls. That's Cash App 7 Smalls. Please donate to 7 Smalls if you like what we're trying to do. We're at 505. We're trying to get to 1,000 at some point, but please like, share, and subscribe. Go support my brother El Guapo and go support my man, the American Brazilian. We're going to have a fire show on tonight, guys. I promise you, this might be the best one I ever did. Listen, it don't get no more clear than this. We got the pillars of truth in the house tonight. And like I said, I call it Guapo where velvet meets the road. So El Guapo, thank you again, brother. I want you to tell the audience who you are and tell them what's going on in America that's causing men of all ethnic groups to be frustrated.
What's good, team? Salute and salutations from El Guapo. So can you guys hear me? I had to change my audio setup at the last minute. Can you hear me okay?
Perfect.
Awesome. Griez, what's up, my man?
Hey, good brother, man. I'm just sorry I didn't get enough. We didn't have ample enough time, man, to really chop it up like we wanted to, man. But
it's amazing how busy we can be on vacation, right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, but I had a good time hanging out with you down there and everything. So I'm a regular guy, man. You know, I might have some advantages here and there, but I'm a regular guy. I work a regular job. I won't be doing that much longer, but yeah, I'm a bit of a Renaissance man, and I'm a 15-year veteran to Rio de Janeiro in Latin America and abroad. So Air Force veteran. Yeah, that's me. And I had the pleasure of meeting the kosher clinician down in Rio de Janeiro after we were on a live stream with the lead attorney. So yeah, it was a good time, and I hope to add some positive insight to the conversation tonight.
No doubt. Now we got somebody that's definitely, you know, a lot of times in this experiment, you know, people have all kinds of assumptions about Brazil, the culture, the women, you know, they only want you for a green card. You know, they're trying to use you. They want money. And we know that all women want money because it's in their hard drive to want money. But we got the American Brazilian. The American Brazilian, tell the audience who you are. Why were you frustrated? And what's been the story since you met your beautiful Brazilian wife?
What's going on, everybody? First of all, I apologize. I was running a little late. I was at a family function, pool tournament or whatever. Can you hear me? Can everybody?
Yes, sir. Can hear you perfect.
Okay, good. Well, anyway, I won the tournament, so I guess the ends justified the means.
No doubt.
Like I said, my name is Larry. I'm the American Brazilian. And what had me frustrated initially was I was literally ending my 3rd marriage to an Afro-American woman. I was married to, well, technically it was my 2nd one, but it was my 3rd because I was married to my son's mom twice. That didn't work. Met someone else. That didn't work. And so I took like a year off from the whole relationship thing. I decided, you know, I would travel again. There was once upon a time, I was head of security for an organization. And so we would do dignitary protection. So we would travel to different parts of the world, make sure our dignitary was okay, and, you know, typical stuff. It was more so administrative than anything, working in conjunction with state and local law enforcement officials and what have you. Well, in any event, my mom, prior to her passing, we had a conversation, and she suggested that I get back on the planes again and start traveling, but this time in more of a personal capacity. So I went, you know, I thought about different places that I had gone, places that I wanted to go. And so I kind of narrowed it down to Latin America because I'd only been to Mexico, but that was just kind of like Tijuana. But so I wanted to go deeper into Latin America because it was always a curiosity. And so in the process of doing my research, I ran across this video called Frustrated. And
save it live one at a time.
So check this out. So Al, you have no idea, man. I'm like a groupie. So if I start trembling, brother, just know it's cool. So I ran across this video, and when I listened to it, it was like this epiphany. It's like all of the boxes were checked. Everything began to make sense. And then it narrowed down to you know, the black man's option and Rio de Janeiro. And I heard about Rio de Janeiro, as most people have. And so I began to do some more research, only to run across Charles Tower. And and so I'm looking at his videos. And so I said, well, I'll put Rio to the side. I'll look at Colombia. I'll look at Costa Rica. I'll look at the Dominican Republic. But interestingly enough, every Latin country that I read on, every video that I saw, people would say the same thing, and it was this: before you go to Brazil, go here. Before you go to Brazil, go here. And I'm like, well, I got the resources. I can go anywhere I want to.
Mhm.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to try to narrow it down to Brazil to see if I can get some more, insight on the country. So then I started watching Charles Tyler's videos. In the process of watching one, he made mention that he had a Facebook group. And so, of course, I went to Facebook, sent them a message, and he responded just like that. He accepted me in the group and he responded. So I began to send him messages. And so we began to trade, not video, but voicemails. And he would just give me this insight. And I marveled at how accessible, how kind, how personable he was, and how generous he was with the information. I mean, the stuff that he was giving me, quite frankly, people were charging for, but he just felt the need to just freely give me this information. So I said, well, you know what? What's the worst that can happen? I bought me a plane ticket. 5 months later, I was in Brazil. And the sad part about this whole story is this. I had met a young lady who I was dating at the time. He suggested that I go to Brazilian Cupid, and I did. Met a young lady. I was dating her at the time, met her in Rio. She picked me up from the airport. I think Alan Harper was there as well. And in any event, the day that I was supposed to meet Charles Tyler, I said, well, I'll get with him a couple of other days because I knew all the guys were descending on the beach. Man, I got to Rio and lost my mind. And next thing I know, I'm crying at the airport, like literally crying, like, oh, I don't want to go back to America. And literally, no, I was crying. I got videos. I was crying. And
That's sad, man.
so I came back and I said, well, I'll send him a message and I'll get with him, and then we'll get together another time. Unfortunately, as many of you guys know, like 2 weeks after the beach week, I think he had passed away. If you guys hear a baby in the background, then that's our new son. He's teething, so he's not the nicest person in the world. The young lady and I didn't work out from Brazil. She was cool, but things just didn't work out. When I came back, I had Brazilian friends because I really wasn't immersed in the Brazilian community. I never really know that there was a Brazilian community where I was here in Florida, the north part of Florida, which is where I am. And so they introduced me to the young lady who had been in the country for about 5 years or so. She's from Sao Paulo, Aracatuba. And we met, and it's literally the first day we had lunch. I called one of my friends and I told him, I said, man, guess who I just met? He said, who? I said, my wife.
Wow.
And 2 months later, we was married. That was almost 2 years ago. And we have a son now. And it is just night and day, so much so it was scary. Like I never had anybody concerned about me eating lunch.
Wow.
You
Right.
know, like my clothes are being folded up. My home is being clean. And it's just like, it's cognitive dissonance. You know what I'm saying? Because I'm not used to that. I'm used to
it, right?
I'm used to the combativeness, so much so to where it's kind of like the guy who's from the hood who is immersed into a peaceful neighborhood who is apprehensive when people are just trying to be nice to him. That's kind of how I was. So, and there are things that I'm still getting used to. Like it freaks me out when I go to grab my clothes and they're just like folded, like crisp. I mean, it's just amazing. Food cooked every day. And it trips me out, man, quite frankly. And I mean, my wife, she's in a comfortable position. She doesn't have to work, God has blessed me. Things are going well, man. So she had her own business, her own house cleaning business. She still does. But at any moment she wants to give it up, she knows she can. But it's just a different mindset. I mean, it's I don't know, man. It's definitely the same day. It's not that whole that fighting, like I'm having to make you do stuff. It's even if we have a disagreement, it always ends in it's weird, man, how peaceful it is. It's freaky.
Right.
You know what I'm
right.
saying? And but it's my norm, man. It's my life now. And it's so funny. We were sitting down today before we left to go to our family event. I just looked at her and I said, this is heaven to me. And she said, what you mean? I said, just
Wow,
me,
that's sad.
you, and him. This is heaven. Like this is like everything to me. Just the peace that we have. So, another really, really close friend, he's like a brother of mine, unbeknownst to me, When I met my wife, I like got this barrage of friend requests from Facebook from her family members who were in Sao Paulo and different parts of Brazil. And, she got like 300 cousins. She knows a lot of them by name. That's even freakier. But to make a long story short, my good friend is now engaged to her cousin. And he's experiencing the same thing. And it's so funny because we trade stories about just how strange it is. He too was coming off of a divorce from an AAW. And again, I'm not saying all AAWs are bad. It's just that at some point, when do you get frustrated? Shout out to Griez, and just say, you know what? It's time for me to do something different. Charles Tyler said something, and this was the aha moment that he had. He said, Larry, if a body of water is the only thing that's separating you from getting something that could potentially change your life, he said, you have no problems.
Right.
You have no problems. And I bought my ticket, man. And it is so crazy. Even though the relationship that I was in prior to meeting my wife didn't work out, the love that I have and the impact that Brazil made on my life is life changing. It never stopped. Like it's so much so that I feel like I have to shake myself, because it's like, man, I'm American, but it's like this Brazilian culture thing, man, is like I am in love with Brazilian culture. The people, we have a couple of big Brazilian stores, supermarkets here. I was just in one today, and it's just, I don't know, man. It's kind of hard to really quantify unless you've been there and literally been steeped into the culture and then experienced, snippets of the culture here that kind of give that same feel and that same aura that you experienced in Brazil. It's life changing to me, man. So I'm sorry to just ramble, man, but I'm passionate about this subject, man, because it truly changed my life. And so I tell everybody that I come in contact with, as a Black man, if you are experiencing, which many are, this feminist, combative, unrelenting, unsubmissive mindset, go where you're celebrated, and where you can be celebrated, where I know, not based on what somebody told me, but based on what I've seen firsthand and what I experienced every single day of my life, is Brazil. And
but I'm sorry, there. Go ahead, brother. One of the reasons why I started this journey is because of what you've been through, brother, American Brazilian, El Guapo, and even my man Al Griez. And it's really sad that there was a time where it was understood that you support your man. It was an understanding that you cater to your man. And based on the concept of catering, they're trying to ban or cancel. Who's the chick from, I think it's Destiny's Child, I don't know. But she made a song called Cater to You with Beyonce. So it's unfortunate, like you said, the feminist culture that we live in, that even when a man says, a woman says she's wanting to cater to a man, good women are actually chided for catering to a man. And I tell any man, no man shall have to suffer in silence, because this is a mental health crisis. I started this journey back in 2009 as a therapist. I worked in law enforcement. I was a security, I was a correction officer. I had my 2-year degree in law enforcement. I was a school teacher. I taught special ed, and then I eventually got my master's from UNC Chapel Hill. And it's been a long journey, because I knew that there was a mental health crisis and a lot of men were suffering in silence. And I made up in my mind in 2008, I said I was going to do everything in my power to advocate for Black men and the Black family, because really in the clinical framework, nobody's adding on to the legacy of what Black men are going through. Why are Black men frustrated, Al Griez? And then El Guapo, I want you to tell me, why are American men frustrated? Why are they frustrated? Why are American men frustrated with the choices that they have in this cesspool or trash can called America?
It's simple. It's just for me, it's simple. You look at your choices you have. They're not satisfied with what they have to pick and choose from, as far as it relates to social acting and dating and looking for a significant other. And I did some little research, and you view it as the economy changed and how it affected and made an impact on the family. So when America was into factories, and most men can go work in a factory, buy a house, take care of their family, and have 2-3 kids and send them to college. You know, America rallied around the family. And as technology came and America went to more of a service industry, and they promoted college and education, and women found the need when women found a lane to get into, and then they vouched out for independence. Well, I got my money now. I'm making my own money, and now I'm going to stand on independence. If you look at their counterparts, white women go to school, Asian women go to college. They go there looking for husbands. They go there looking for significant others, and they don't go there vouching looking for independence. And they're more in a cooperative state. So if I'm in college, he's going to be a doctor, or he's going looking for engineering, and I'm here, and this is how we can fit, and we can work this out together. And when you look at the black women there, they're more standoffish. Well, I'm vowing for independence. I'm going to hang out there. And then when they get 35, 40, hitting that wall and done swolled up, can't see their ankles no more. And now I'm ready to submit to you. Now I'm ready. After I had 2-3 kids, now I'm ready. Most brothers look at that, they're like, you crazy. You crazy. No way in hell.
Right. Taxation.
Right. So as time went on, I mean, especially as economy changed now, brothers are making money off of Forex, crypto, don't have to necessarily be in the office anymore, especially after COVID showed that, people can work from home. All I need is a strong internet connection. I can travel. Brothers start traveling, bringing that American dollar with them. And when they bring that American dollar with them, they got more options. So brothers are now not frustrated. Really, they're not frustrated. The playbook has been out there now. The playbook is out. This is what, the information is out. And brother American&Brazil is a testament to that. The information is out. We just left from a group trip. Brothers are getting out. It's women that's frustrated. It's the women now that's frustrated.
I like that flip.
Yeah, it's the women now seeking. Where all the bed at? Why you don't want to come here? And they go on Brother Kevin Samuels to try to give a solution, and he breaking them down. He breaking them down, boy. He breaking them down like you break down a box. You ever had a box when you want to fold it down? He breaking them down just like that, and they can't handle it. And so I don't see the brothers being frustrated anymore. Most of the brothers now, they come on there. I get inbox messages all the time. Griez, I want to thank you for your work, man. That shit changed my life. Thank you. It alleviates the frustration. Brothers is traveling, because when you go to Brazil, I see not brothers just in BMO. I see brothers from all over. When I was in Thailand, I ran across brothers that was not part of the group. Brothers are out traveling now. Some brothers like to travel solo by themselves. Hey, what's up, brother? What's up? And they all relate back to, man, I saw a Charles Tyler video. I saw your film. And I decided to go here. I decided to go here. So it's the women now that are frustrated. I don't see the brothers being frustrated anymore.
El Guapo, why are American men frustrated? And when did you come to your point of grace when you realized it was time to explore abroad?
So I'll tell you the truth. I agree 115% with Al Griez. I don't think the men are frustrated anymore. This world is becoming exceedingly small with the advent of the internet and technology. I'm a perfect lover of YouTube because it's a great information share. And the stuff that you had to have your uncle pull your coat on back in the day, or come across the right guy to mentor you, it's all out there. Look at the work that you're doing, coach or clinician. Al, I'm telling you. So I had already been to Brazil when you came out with the first Frustrated, but okay, so don't get mad at me. I originally thought it was a free YouTube video, so I did share the non-official one. But I'll slide in your Cash App. But what I will tell you, all jokes aside, is I sent it out, and man, it sparked some brothers to go there, and it really, really recalibrated their mindsets and changed their lives, man. So we're all those big uncles, the American Brazilian who has a testimony on how well it works. So it's the women. We're really seeing, and I don't want to get biblical, but there's a verse in the Bible, I think it's Matthew 3:12. It's like the wheat being separated from the chaff.
Right.
Those women that are choosing to be difficult, willfully dense and stuff like that, they're becoming obsolete.
Right.
They really are. And those women that are, I always showcase something new. So I'm gonna give you an exclusive. Outside of the United States, there are a lot of proud fangirls for Black man.
Wow.
So proud fangirls, feminine and natural. There are a lot of feminine and natural women for Black men outside of the US. You see it all over Brazil. My fiance is Colombian. You know, I've been to Thailand. I've been to China. I've been all over. I've been to Africa. You know, yeah, they're all over. Even the Eastern European women, at least they're feminine and they're natural, which is an entry point for us. You know, so when you've got a group of women here that choose to lose, that's another one I'm going to showcase on you. They're choosing to lose and move in the wrong direction. At a certain point, it's hard to have sympathy and empathy for them. You know what I mean? And real talk. Let me ask you this, kosher clinician, because I was thinking about this today.
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
We talked about in the military when I went through combat survival training, right?
Yes, sir.
I like that, ES.
Yeah, go ahead, brother.
I was thinking about indoctrination.
Yes, sir.
Which is one of the best ways to kind of enslave a people is mentally, right?
Yes, sir.
And when you realize that your thought process and your whole foundation of belief is false, because our women have been deceived, I will give them that. You know, there's something known as like a cognitive break, right? Where they actually could like lose their mind if they accept the truth. I think that's what a lot of Black women are dealing with now.
Right.
And so we were all in Brazil together, outside of you, American Brazilian. And I remember sitting at a kiosk and there were some American Black women there. And I was like, wow. Did you guys see them? You know what I'm talking about? Y'all know what I'm talking about.
No, I didn't. I don't mean to cut. I didn't see. I was staying in an apartment and I went down to the restaurant to get something to eat. And I went to go get some food. And I ordered the food to go, and I seen two American Black women sitting at the table, and I heard one say to the other one, "Girl, we got to get our shit together. We got to do better than this." And I heard that. And listen, if you could have,
Griez. Well, I want to see if it was the same two women. Were they a bit hefty?
Yes.
Did they have the long braids that were not? Yes, we're talking about the same one. I saw them on the kiosk at Copacabana. They were getting roasted. The brothers were relentless over there.
All I heard one say to the other one. I didn't know who they were. I was getting some food. I was letting the waiter know I was there, and I heard one say to the other one, "Girl, we got to get our shit together. We got to do better than this." And my eyes lit up. I said, "Oh shit!" I went over there. Hey, how y'all doing? How y'all doing? What's going on? What's going on? What bring y'all out there? And they try to clean it up and all that shit. I said, "What you?" I could have sworn I heard somebody say, "You got to get your shit." And they was like, "What? No, what you talking about, girl? I got my masters in this. I got my masters in that." I said, "Okay, so how you enjoy Brazil?" The Brazilian men love me. I wanted to say, "Stop lying."
Stop lying.
Come on now. Listen. And
you see what they picking from? You see what they picking and choosing from on that damn beach out there? You come out here, both of them, one was tipping 200, one was easy over 200.
She was a deuce and a half. I know exactly who you're talking about. Yeah.
The quarter. I said, be real with me. Hey, be real with me. Matter of fact, hold on. This is sound like bullshit. Let me see if I can find this shit. I got her number.
Oh no.
Yeah. Talk to me.
Oh my goodness.
Tell her to call in. I want to hear her perspective. But
yeah, tell her to call in. And listen, while you guys are talking, I want to send a shout out to Mr. Melanie. Thank you, sir. Thank you for the cash out. Guys, if you like what we're doing, please like, share, and subscribe to the Kosher Clinician. Go check out my man El Guapo from Beautiful Lives and check out the American Brazilian. Listen, these shows are time consuming. You guys got some this is a star-studded show tonight with brother Al Griez, what I call the Moses. You know, Moses said in the Bible, "Whosoever on the Lord's side, let him come." A minute going on the Lord's side, man. Then we got El Guapo, I call when velvet meets the rope. And then you got a man that's going to give you live testimony a live testimony of him finding his Brazilian queen, his Brazilian wife. And the American Brazilian, if you can, if your wife doesn't mind, I would love for her to come on and share how Brazilian culture is different than American culture. Not to denigrate American culture, but how they're trained to be wives. Because I'm a firm believer that many American women are not wife ready. They're not trained to be wives. And I think feminism has done a negative to them. Like Guapo say, I think a lot of it's what I call cognitive dissonance. Not only is it cognitive dissonance, a lot of it is denial. And so there's a such thing called nature versus nurture. We all have what's called an intrinsic hard drive. All men are wired to be loved, reverenced, and respected. But however, we've been conditioned to defer power in order to appease the woman to the point that we're accepting subpar behavior. But now there's a great shift that's going on when men are beginning to realize that they have value, love, potential, and respect. And I did this as a form of an empowerment movement to empower men, because a lot of clinical therapists are not only doing it, but many don't have masculine clinical therapists. So, you guys are getting a star-studded show tonight. So please support the coach clinicians, support these brothers, and please donate to Seven Smalls, because these shows are very time consuming. So back to what you were saying. Was it Griez or was it El Guapo? I'm sorry.
El Guapo.
I want to talk. He got that smooth, silky voice.
Yeah, I call him.
I'm so mad. So listen, real fast. I set up a new studio, bruh. I dropped all this money on this mic, and check this out. I forgot to get the mic cable, so that's why I'm on my headset. So it'll be here tomorrow. I was gonna release the studio on you, man. I messed up, bro. But anyway. So I really don't believe that the men are frustrated anymore. Everybody within my sphere of influence, I tell black men, I was like, every black man needs to see Brazil to find their true north when it comes to understanding women and what is actually available to you. American Brazilian, you said something. I want to call you a Marioca, which is an American person from Rio de Janeiro. But you said your wife is from Sao Paulo, right? She's a Paulista.
Yes, she's from Sao Paulo. The city is Araçatuba.
Ah, got it. So so you were saying something that really struck me is that oh God, I just had it. Give me a second. You were saying that let me move on. It'll come back to me. But one of the biggest things that I see when it comes to going and traveling abroad is that changing of your mindset and understanding that things don't have to be the way that they are here. Black men, and I believe all men, feel love through respect first. If you can't show me that you respect me, you cannot convince me that you love me. And that comes from our black mothers, our black sisters, our black grandmas, and definitely our black women that we're involved with romantically. And the level of respect that you get abroad is so vastly different that it'll feel foreign. You'll be like, this is a bit uncomfortable. It almost feels like you're being duped. So didn't it? I'm preaching to the converted.
Yeah, it's one of those things. I love quotes. And one quote that since I've been traveling is by St. Augustine that I share with people, and that's this: the man who does not travel, the person who does not travel, is likened unto the person that opens the book to read the first page and closes it. And I think that for us who's traveled, especially, we'll just say Brazil because that's kind of like Latin America, right? We understand that America has the pen that writes the narrative for the rest of the world. It's funny how America can say, and we're not bashing America, but it's funny how we can say here, this country is third world and they have third world problems, and this country is third world. Well, last I checked, I don't really hear about school shootings in Brazil. I don't hear about people just walking up randomly and just shooting people only to claim mental health. I don't hear that. So for us who travel, we understand that, hold on, there's somebody that's pulling the strings that's trying to keep the American dollar here in America. So they want to disparage and talk poorly about the rest of the world and the people of the rest of the world and the cultures of the rest of the world. But when you have toured and you've seen things for yourself, you realize that, listen, everything that's being told us it's not true. I remember going to Nigeria, and I was asking one of the guys who was showing me around what his perception was of black people. And before he answered that, I said, well, where did you get it from? And you know what he told me? He said, American TV. I said, well, what show? He said, Cops.
Mm-hmm.
That is what shaped his perception of black American men. And it's just amazing. And we do that so much so to where when I would, before my trip to Brazil, and even after, when I would come back, different women would say, well, oh, you just going over there because the women are prostitutes, or the women just want a green card. When the truth of the matter is, and gentlemen, I know you can attest to this because you've been there more times than I have. Most of the women in Brazil have no desire to leave Brazil because they love their country.
Right.
And so this misnomer about everybody being prostitutes and wanting green cards and of course, yeah, you know, you do have that, but I'm a firm believer wherever you have poverty, you're going to have crime, you know, and that degree of poverty that's there, you're going to have crime, and that's here in America as well. But besides the point, it's life changing. Like it stretches you out, and you realize that you were being lied to. So when you come back here, when I came back here, the biggest thing for me was to even attempt to date somebody who was American, because it's kind of like I'm like, well, what am I doing? Like, I went on so many dates, and after 3 minutes, I said to myself, you and I will never share the same airspace again. Right. And many people I never called back because it was kind of like, why am I wasting my time? I don't want to be here. I don't want to be with you. I want to be over there. And again, it wasn't until I found my wife that I just kind of was at peace again. But yeah, man, it's lied to us a lot over here.
Go
ahead, Al. I'm sorry.
America's good at advertising. They're good at advertising. They got the whole. I'm in New York. They got the whole Fifth Ave, the whole district over there based on for advertising. And the root word is that to avert your attention, then entice you with some bullshit. Mm-hmm. And when I was doing research and stuff, you start traveling. I said, Brazil, a third world country. I'm like, shit. I went to first time I went to Sao Paulo in December. Went to Sao Paulo, and I'm looking at these tall buildings and fancy shit over there. And as I was walking through the mall and going to certain restaurants, they had these heat sensors put up. So if my temperature was elevated, they would stop you. And I was like, wow, I'm in New York and we ain't got none of this shit. And hand sanitizer, kits at the table when you go in a restaurant and stuff. And I'm like, shit, I can live here. Now, I'm not, if I'm living in Beverly Hills, you damn sure know I ain't going to the slum to go live. And I'd give up New York to go live in Sao Paulo. If I could right now, I'd be out of here or going Rio. So they're good at advertising and enticing you, averting you and enticing you with bullshit because they always quick to market. Oh, no, nobody love you over there. Nobody love you over there. Nobody loves you there. Nobody loves you there. And a lot of that, you look at white supremacy and all, and you look at the white privilege and all that shit. The threat to white supremacy is going to come from other men. It's not going to come from women. White men don't fear women. He don't fear black women. He don't fear Asian women. He don't fear Hispanic women. But he do fear other men. And I think he believes his biggest challenge is black men. Mm-hmm. So if I can keep you frustrated, I can keep you unhappy, displays with your woman, keep you in the courthouse fighting, relieve you of your money through child support, alimony, and all those kind of payments, I can keep you under control a little bit. A lot. I keep you under control because I'm controlling your finances through that shit, just through your basic relationship with your counterpart. And if I can control that, I got you right where I want you. And once, brothers will start leaving now and finding happiness and coming back joyous and smiles. I see the smiles. And when I was out there, I saw brothers' smiles. I haven't seen like System Kool-Aid smiles. I ain't seen them shits a long time. Brothers just couldn't believe where they were at and what they were experiencing. So, once you get that and you get that taste of it and you get to experience that, it's going to have a major impact, a major change in your life, and you'll change your philosophy on life. And then you come back here and you'll see through that bullshit that they're trying to promote and push through you, and you'll find your happiness.
Hey, Al, send the group, tell the guys to join the conversation. I'll send it to the BMO group, man. But go ahead.
It's in there. It's in there.
Okay, brother. Go ahead. Go ahead. Larry,
I'm going to see if my wife has put my son to sleep. If not, I'll see if she can come join us.
Yes, sir. I would love her to join. Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Okay. And I remember what I was going to say to you, American Brazilian. I know you're about to step away, but when you were talking about, people told you, hey, go here before you go to Brazil and go there before you go to Brazil. Brazil is kind of the mountaintop.
Yes.
Rio de Janeiro is kind of the pinnacle of the mountaintop.
And that is the word that they use, the pinnacle.
It is. And I made the mistake of going to Brazil first. It's hard to go anywhere. I went to the DR after that. No diss to the DR. But I was like, man, what is this?
Now, that's some third world. That's some third world shit.
Yeah. Now I enjoyed Colombia. I did enjoy Colombia, but not like Brazil is kind of like a second home. So when you've exposed a man like that, and kosher clinician, I don't cuss much, but we have a term in business where there's a certain level of how do I want to put this? I'm trying not to say that, I'm just saying it. So we call it being unbullshittable. Okay. When you've operated at the ground level and you've done the work and then you've elevated to a supervisory position and stuff like that, that's what going to Brazil is like.
Right.
It makes you unbullshittable when it comes to these women here. It's like, I said this last time I was on your show. I was like, man, you meet a woman here that thinks she's an 8 or a 9. You're like, man, I was just messing with 3 of you 10 days ago, possibly at the same time. And everything. There's literally nothing you can tell me to convince me that you are the prize in this situation. So, yeah. Thank you, sweetheart. Thank you.
So, Al Griez, why were you frustrated? You started the movie. The movie's Frustrated. Why was Al Griez frustrated? Let's talk about the psychological things that you went through, the lack of respect.
I was eating out the garbage can, eating out the trash can. I was messing up my system. And thought I had some top-notch meat, man, and find out I was eating out the garbage can. So I had to change my diet. It got more natural food, what they call organic, but it's just natural and not processed.
Right.
And once I went to like Guapo said, I went to this had the traveling bug. Just wanted to get out and see some stuff. Went to DR and didn't like it at all. I didn't like the DR at all. I didn't like the infrastructure. I didn't feel safe. Didn't really care for it. And then my next trip was Brazil, and that was it. I'm 20 years strong, damn near 20 years strong in Brazil. So once I went to Brazil, man, that was it, man. I was like, this is it. DR, I can't do it. I can't. I know DR got other parts of it and stuff, man, but I can't do it. With the other parts, we travel to Thailand and other parts. We got a trip coming up to Africa that I'm interested in going to, man. But Brazil has been it for me, man. And like I said, once I ran across women who were fit, friendly, and feminine. Woo, woo, woo. I came back a different dude. Man. All my friends' wives and significant others don't talk to me like I come back and word with freedom. I come back with a word of freedom. Hey, bro, you ain't got to be frustrated. You can always roll with me. I'll let you know what I'm doing. You can always roll with me. They can't stand me, man. They can't stand me. They can't stand me. And I got some cool cats, man, especially in the Atlanta area. Well, I spent a lot of time in the Atlanta area in my 20s. I'm still cool with them today, man. But they wise look at me and hello Al, how you doing? I know you just came back from Brazil and all that. And I tease him too. I tell my man, hey man, when you wanna go with me, man? You got to come with me out there. And I kill him first. He ain't coming back. Once he get out there, he ain't coming back. So you ain't got to worry about that. But once I find they were fit, friendly, and feminine, and that feminine energy, it just did something to me, man. It just did something to me. But when I came back in, I came back into women who were being combative. And I mean, I saw a chick, I was just talking to her, and she said, wait a minute, hold up. I think, you cool dude. How much you make a year? What's this? What's stop? You don't even know my last name. You don't even know my last name, and you trying to get my bank account? You don't even know my last name, and it just brought me the wrong way, and I wasn't interested no more.
Mm-hmm.
Once I travel, I'm not frustrated no more. Trust me, there's no frustration here. You see my smile out there. You see my smile out there.
And you know the good thing about it, man. When I was there, I met a brother named Eric. He was a Portuguese. He was a Blanco. He was a Portuguese translator, and he took me to this Brazilian place where they had Brazilian meat. And the Brazilian meat is awesome, man. It's lean and clean, man. And Al, I was thinking about you when you were on the beach, man. You were actually glowing. You'll lose weight in Brazil. Your blood pressure go down. Your testosterone will go up. If you haven't had a boy, you'll make a boy in Brazil.
You saw that glow I had on me?
Man, you had the soul glow.
Yeah.
Shout out to Dr. McCoy. You had the soul glow.
I was at peace.
You were at peace. I could see it in your eyes, man. And that's how toxic America is. So I started the topic by saying, are American women wife ready, and are Afro-Latin women the new black woman? And I'm saying that because many men are divesting. What many don't understand, Afro-Latin women are from the diaspora. They have African roots, African blood. It's like I did my blood test, and I'm 43% Nigerian. I'm about, I don't know about 10% Cameroon, Congo. So I have, blacks in America, we're from all our bloodlines from the whole African diaspora, but Afro-Latin people are also from the diaspora. Actually, they're more African than a lot of people in America. So why were you frustrated, American Brazilian? Then Guapo, I want to go back to you, but why were you frustrated? And what joy and peace have your current wife given you that's giving you solace and peace of mind?
I think I was frustrated because I felt like a window shopper with money only to purchase a product to realize that it wasn't as advertised. That's why I was frustrated. So when I met my wife, I think for me, the traditional aspect of her upbringing was very attractive, so much so to where, and I tell this story and it freaked me out.
Right.
When I decided that I wanted to be exclusive with her, not that I was dating around, but I wanted to just kind of see her and her alone, I asked her, I said, well, I want to make you my girlfriend. And I felt like I was 10 asking her this. And she told me that, she said, well, and I don't know if you remember this, but she said that you're going to have to get my mother's and my father's permission. I'm like, what? I said, you serious? Because I thought she was playing. She was like, yes, I'm very serious. And so, of course, I think it was a Monday, we called FaceTime her mom and her sister. It was a Monday, I think it was. I think it was a Monday. Anyway, and I talked to her mom, and her mom, we had a little conversation. And her mom said, yeah, as long as you treat my daughter with respect. But I hadn't talked to her father yet. So that was the following day. So the next day, FaceTimed her mother and her father. And he said, well, of course, if my daughter thinks you're a nice guy, come across as a good man, just based on our brief interaction, then yes, you have our consent. And they were coming here. I think it was a few weeks after that. So they were going to come here for 30 days. So I was like, look, I have a couple of guest bedrooms. I say, so we'll just let them stay here, because I really wanted to see the dynamic between her and her parents, to see if what I saw between just she and I was like, I wanted to see if she was the genuine article. And so, I mean, it was amazing, the relationship between her parents, the respect that she had for her parents. One time I thought she was arguing with her parents, and I realized that that's just how they talk, kind of loud or whatever.
Right.
But it was just the traditional aspect of, getting permission. And she told me something, and I didn't believe it, but her mom confirmed it. There is not one divorce in their family. It doesn't exist. I'm talking about on either side. It just doesn't exist.
Great.
And so for me, that, as somebody who's been divorced a few times, never wanted to, but things happen. That added to the attraction. So a lot of things about meeting her gave me peace upon peace upon peace. And even to this day, I mean, it just grows. I mean, like I shared with them today, we were sitting on the couch, and I said, man, this is like heaven to me. And she was like, what? I said, man, just you and my son, just us three, just being here. It's like we don't have to be anywhere in the world. Just as long as we're together, the peace that we're experiencing is just amazing. And unbeknownst to her, a lot of it is from those poor point of references of past experiences based on where I am now. So, I mean, man, again, you can't make this up, man. You can't. You got. It's got to be. It's got to be. I don't know, man. It's just real. It's real, man. It's she's the genuine article, man.
Man, I'm happy for you, brother. I'm happy for you.
Can I ask a quick question? I just want to ask a quick question to American Brazilian. How did that process differ from the last your previous three wives you
right?
you
I was about to ask that. Right.
Well, I think I would say the what sticks out most is the traditional role aspect. I wasn't having somebody trying to be me. You know what I'm saying? I wasn't having somebody trying to be the man and the woman.
Right.
You know, it's almost like my wife is the woman, I am the man. There are certain things that are intrinsically allocated for me, and there are things that are intrinsically allocated for her.
Right.
But the last experience, it was like one person trying to do everything, you know, and it was just the combativeness. It was on steroids, and it was almost like, and I don't know if you guys can agree, it was like that corporate mindset when people get into corporate America. You know, it's just that like everything is a number. Humanity doesn't exist. Everything's calculated in just numbers, facts and figures. And my wife, everything is just personal. You know, we're human. Family is first. It's not a situation where, you know, money is everything. It's like money is up here, family kind of falls somewhere at the bottom floor. But and that's another difference. It's almost like, what do you have? It's so funny because I can buy my wife any purse that she wants.
Right.
But my wife, she likes Coach purses, and even with that, you know, my wife will go here if she likes something, she'll get it. I was like, well, honey, let's get this right here. She said, why? You know how much I can do with that? You know, it's just
Right.
it's just freaky. But man, I can't tell you how much money I spent on Louis Vuitton, Gucci purses, and all kind of stuff. And when they left, the purses left too. You know, when they left, the shoes and everything is left too.
Right.
And so it's just a difference. So it's that's just a few differences, you know. And they don't like, my wife doesn't even try to emasculate. You know what I'm saying? It's almost like if you're a nice guy here in America, sometimes you're treated like
a sucker.
a sucker. You know, if you're a guy that say, okay, look, I'll give the advantage. Okay, baby, let's do what you want to do. It's almost like, well, I've had people tell me, you know, are you too nice and stuff like that, and it's kind of like that makes no sense to me. Like that doesn't register, as opposed to what? Hitting you side the head? Like, I'm not going to do that. So, yeah. I'm sorry. What were you going to say, honey? I thought you were going to say something.
No, I'm gonna say like,
Can you guys hear her?
it's so
Yes.
funny.
Okay, go ahead.
It's so funny. Hi guys.
Hi. How you doing?
Oi, tudo bem?
Today, I'm so sorry. I was putting babies for sleep, and then I'm here. My eyes is on you, and in the baby's camera too. So, and then I think about this. The first time when I got some gifts from America, after I realized this, but in Brazil, usually, like, if we are in some relationship and the guy give you for you ring, necklace, purse, stuff like this, it's like our horn, like a woman. When you broke the relationship, we return everything because it's for the males like an insult. It's rude for Brazilian men, like you return the things that they gave for you, and then for and then when I arrived in America, so one day I won the ring, and then I broke the relationship, and then I returned the ring for the guy.
Right.
So most part of the girls, Americans say, "Are you stupid? you should stay with the ring. And I say, no, where is my honor?
Honor.
My honor.
Right,
Where's
right,
my
right,
honor?
right,
I mean,
right.
I pay. I wanna keep my honor. And then what's the honor? Honor is supposed to be your ring. It's supposed to stay with the ring. It's his honor.
See, this is the kind of stuff I'm talking about, man. Like,
Do you
Right.
know how much? Excuse me. Do you know how much he pays in that ring? And I said, I don't care how much he paid, but it's my honor. I don't care. And then after I recognize that here in America, as much the guys gave you for your purse, whatever, you keep this stuff because something is very expensive, and then it's just he gave me this, and then he's stupid, blah 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 blah. But for us, it's about the Brazilian culture. If the man give it for you something and they broke the relationship, most part, I'm not saying all the women do this, but most part the woman return the gifts, return everything because it's about our honor. Like you cannot buy me with your gifts.
I want to ask you a question. What's your wife's name?
Talita.
Talita. How is the culture? So when it comes down to honor and respect, if women are disrespectful to your husbands in Brazilian culture, what is the consequence?
If we disrespect,
Yeah, in Brazilian culture, if you disrespect your husband, you got a Brazilian husband. You're in Brazil, you disrespect. What is the consequences? What do the husbands usually do?
it depends, but
Can you guys hear us? Can you guys hear us?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we hear
Okay,
you
we'll go
fine.
ahead.
Yep.
Yeah, go ahead on with the show.
but it's difficult because Brazil is one of those countries that um is the highest number with the woman is murder. The man usually kill the wives when the
Wow.
wife cheating them or
Right,
start
right.
to request the divorce because he is abusing her. So in Brazil, the numbers is so higher about this. So we have a lot of problem with this in Brazil. So yeah, but
So go ahead, Guapo. Go ahead, brother. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
luckily
So you know what's
thankfully,
com
I never
licença.
has problem. What?
Yeah, so my fiance Labea, and I saw you in the chat, baby. She's on her way home.
Okay.
She talks about this often, being from Colombia, how safe she feels here in the United States versus in her country. She's always talking about this. She says that women here don't realize how good they actually have it.
Yes,
how
sir.
dangerous it is to walk the streets at night in her country. I've known and have befriended a lot of Brazilian women. They talk about the same thing. Yeah. So it's such a different thing here in the United States for women. You guys are so safe. You have no idea. Like even the police. I've had a gun pointed at my head at the ATM in Rio de Janeiro. You know what I mean? But I've never had a cop pull a gun on me here, despite everything that's going on in the climate. You can't play around down there. You definitely can't play around in Colombia. You definitely can't. So, yeah, I understand exactly what you mean. When you say that there's a high rate of women being losing their life in a domestic dispute in Brazil. It's nothing like here. It's crazy down there. It's crazy. And Labea talks, my fiance talks about this all the time, how safe she feels here. So, yeah.
And I think the reason why there's so much homogeny between American black men and Afro-Latin women is because in Afro-Latin countries, they have what's called true machismo and what I call true patriarchy, where they'll kill you or, unfortunately, like they used to say in the past, go upside your head. And I'm not endorsing domestic violence, so I want to make sure we're hearing that. that you guys are hearing that. So they've been trained to be wives. They've been trained to honor, obey, and serve their husband because they know there's a consequence. But on the flip side, men in America are slaves to feminism, and they know that the women know that the government here protects them. That's why they're so dishonorable and disrespectful to the men in America. And I think when you have two ships passing in the night, the Afro-Brazilian woman and the American black man, it's like heaven on earth. And, man, I'm so happy for you, man. I can tell you look so happy. Like I say, your wife gave you a little boy because that's what happens when you're not stressed. Go ahead, Al. Go ahead, brother.
No, you can see the peace there.
I can see the peace, man. He looks so happy. He looks so happy, man.
Just a quick question for your wife. Does she have any American friends? And if so, what is her opinion or perspective on the on her American friends?
That's a good question. Now, go ahead. Excellent question.
Do you have any American friends? And if so, what do you think about them?
The ideology as it relates to dating and marriage and stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't have I don't have any American friends here because I guess the Americans is a little cold. Is different from Brazil. Like the Brazilians here in America, even we are out the country, I guess, especially because we are out our culture, we try and keep together, and keeping our relationships like friendship, everybody always together. But I just have few friends, but no, it's friends, it's just colleague, somebody that you just talk a little bit, change a few words when I was living in the north, and then it was when happened about the ring, the history about the ring, and then I say it's so different, they talk, it's very different. I think we don't match too much. I don't know.
It's so funny. Let me say this. I was talking at my place of business to some guys, and he said, he asked me a question. He said, if I met a Brazilian woman here in America, what should I look out for? I said, one telltale sign of them adhering to their cultural norms is how many American friends they have. Because most, like my wife said, Brazilians here in America, they gravitate towards other Brazilians, not because they don't want to be friendly with Americans. It's just because it takes a lot more work to warm up and become friends with them, especially women with women. And so most, like my wife, like even me, like we're in the Brazilian community here because it's just like, what you're going to get. You're going to get peace, you're going to get welcoming, you're going to get hospitable, you're going to get personable people. So there's not a whole lot of combativeness and trying to wonder if somebody's trying to take something from you, but yeah. So most Brazilian people that I know, it's not that they don't like Americans. It's just that it takes a lot more work to warm up and get into an American circle. So they kind of stay in their Brazilian community. I don't know if that answers your question, Al.
Well, no, because she seems to, she warmed up to you. You're an American guy, so she didn't have any issues warming up to you. Once y'all sat down and broke bread together, most women here in America don't like each other. And I wanted to see if she actually could see, did she get a feel of that these women more combative amongst themselves. That's something I want to stay away from, because my experience with Brazilian women, most of them are friendly. When you meet them, you're walking around, they're friendly, they kiss you on the cheek. Oi, how are you? Sit down, want to open up a conversation with. I didn't know she experienced some of that, trying to be friendly towards American women, and so that negative side, that combativeness, and felt that was something that she wanted to stay away from.
So no, I never had an American friend here. Like friends, no, just change a couple words, but no, nothing that we can match, and say, oh, come in my home and then let's do some barbecue together. Let's gather in some place, 6 years here, no.
I want to go back in time. Al Griez, how did we get here? How did we get to this cesspool in America? And then Al, after you answer that question, Larry, I want you to tell me, and El Guapo's coming back, but Larry, I want you to tell me from your experience, how did we get here? And you know, Teddy Pendergrass made a song say, "You inspire me." Tell the audience how your wife inspires you. But before you tell the audience how she inspires you, Al Griez, how did we get here?
For me, from doing my research, is I look at it as this: in Latin America, they didn't get introduced to that feminists. They didn't get to introduce that feminism and shit that went on in the 70s, and our women did. They poisoned our women here with that feminist stuff. So when their women was not affected by that. So they're kind of like still in their natural state. They're still in their natural state. So if you look at black women prior in the 60s, they wasn't this combative. They were getting married. They were more cooperative. They were, these sharecroppers working together. Everybody was working together to get ahead. Feminists kicked in and then kind of separated us, and then the entitlements came in and removed the man from the house. We'll give you this if you remove the man from the house. And then when that got to be costly, now we're going to incarcerate your man. We'll get your money. We'll get your money for you, but we're going to get it through child support. We'll incarcerate them, and just call 911. We'll be there for you through any disagreement. So the family unit was broken. So I come from a two-family household, and when my parents had disagreements and stuff, they had grandparents. My grandparents were there, and they would talk. My mom would talk to my grandparents, and my father would talk to his siblings or his parents. I saw the family unit working. Nowadays, shit, you got baby daddies all over the place, and there is no family unit. There's no nuclear family. Just having babies. You're just having babies. So anytime there's a dispute, we use 911. We can't get along, we'll just use 911.
911, right.
We'll go to that. But and you look at in the Latin countries, their women have been poisoned that way. So they're still kind of organic in their natural state. Now we deal, ours is all processed. These women, especially, and they promote that I'm a new modern woman. And I was watching some show the other day, and each woman was on and defining what that means. I'm like, what kind? You're a woman. What does that mean, first of all, to be a woman? You can't define that first, and then you're going to skip that and go to this new modern woman. And how's that working out for you? Mm-hmm. How's that working out for you? Not working out too well. Your man's leaving you. You have no counterpart. You have no partner to go on through life with. And most of the time, they see you as view you as a partner, but view you as somebody to challenge with. It's a challenge with. And no man wants to come home after leaving from work or whatever he has to do in the streets and come home and find peace and have to be combative with you at home. I can't find peace at home. You damn sure ain't gonna find it in the workplace. You damn sure ain't gonna find it in the streets. At least when I come home, I want to be able to find peace. And you can't find it there. Shit, you can't even find something to eat. They want to give you Chinese food or whatever come out of the box. They look at as cooking and cleaning and doing laundry is slave work, and we're not going to do that anymore. And for me, when you look at it, how are you going to take care of my babies? How are you going to take care of my kids if I'm out there working 60, 70 hours a week and I'm coming home? What the hell are my kids going to eat? And if you see the kids nowadays as early as 10, 12 years old with type 2 diabetes. Type 2 diabetes at 10, 12, most kids are overweight because they eat processed food. Mama ain't going to the grocery store. She ain't cooking because that's slave work, but I'll let McDonald's, Popeyes, and whoever else want to feed you, I'll let them feed you. And that's how, in my perspective, that's how we got here. And if you look at in Brazil and Colombia, they didn't go for all that feminist movement there.
Right. From your experience, the American Brazilian, how did we get here? How did we get to this current nexus where we're at? And how does your wife inspire you?
Well, to answer the first part of the question, I think we got here just out of frustration. And you and I both know, and I'm sure all of us can attest to that. When we get in this, a term used to say in church world all the time, when you get sick and tired of being sick and tired, you begin to move in another direction. There's another term that used to come about, insanity, doing the same thing, expecting something different. If you continue to do the same thing and you get the same results, but you want something different, at some point, you're going to have to do something different. And I think for a lot of American Black men here, we decided to do something different. And One of those things, which was the most important thing that we could have done, was obtain a passport and then travel. And so going outside of the matrix, seeing something different, experiencing other cultures, seeing other people, seeing how they live, we realized that we had been lied to. And so it gave us a new way of thinking, even when we returned to this country, not to embrace what we once embraced as a norm. And the Matrix is a perfect analogy for it, because they had that whole red pill, blue pill thing. And for anybody who's seen the movie, people that took the blue pill, they just was kind of like walking through life dumb and blindly. But for people who took the red pill, they saw things as it was.
Yes, it
And
was,
I
right.
think for us who's traveled and have taken the red pill, we see life and we see things as it not only as it is, but more importantly, as it should be.
Mm-hmm.
As far as my wife inspiring me, I think one of the biggest um, inspirations that my wife can give me, other than peace, is she celebrates me. So I
Yes, sir.
don't
Right.
I don't I don't feel like I'm being tolerated. I don't feel like I'm being used. I don't feel like I'm being put up with. I feel like I'm being honored. I feel
Mm-hmm.
respected.
Mm-hmm.
My wife, I mean, we go places and we do things and we drive. It's something that she did today, and I kind of chuckle. She didn't hear me chuckle, but we can be driving and she'll just grab my hand while we're driving and just hold my hand.
Wow, that's
And she
powerful,
doesn't
man.
say anything. I don't say anything, but I just kind of
That's
like,
powerful.
and it like that whole moniker about family first. Like Latinos, they believe that. I often tell people, if you are going to be in a relationship with a Latino woman,
Mm-hmm.
you have to change your way of thinking. And
Mm-hmm. What do
it's
you
when
mean
I
by that? What do you mean, American Brazilian? Change your way of thinking. Tell the audience what you mean by that.
when I say change my way of thinking, I mean, number one, the things that you were accustomed to prior to meeting that person, they are now totally different. So in other words, there's you don't experience the combativeness. You don't experience the being sized up. You don't experience money as being the above the everything. Family at first is an actual thing. It's not just like a cute saying.
Mm-hmm.
Somebody who actually loves you for who you are, not for what you can provide, but for who you are. And again, everybody wants to be taken care of.
Mm-hmm.
No, that's ubiquitous. That's all over the world. But I think the appreciation of it is a lot different in Latin America than it is here, especially when you
Mm-hmm.
have somebody here. And here,
Mm-hmm.
let me say this: my wife has a college degree. That's
Mm.
another myth.
Right.
A lot of people believe that all women in Latin America are prostitutes. They just want
Or
green
poor.
cards. They're
Right.
poor or whatever. My mother and my father-in-law, they do good for themselves. My wife, she had good schooling. She went to college, got a degree. So and even I mean the intelligence level, and Al, I'm sure you can attest to this. You run across doctors, you run across lawyers, just everyday people, good people who still operate in the traditional roles,
Mm-hmm.
despite what title they might possess. And so that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing. Their title doesn't, the biggest title that they can have is the title of a wife. That is preeminent.
I think it's because most part the American think that all the foreigners here in America because they was hungry. They cross the river, swim, and then everybody's here because we are hungry. But nobody think that we just leave Brazil, for example, because we're tired about the corruption, we're tired about, the violence. But we study, we have our degree, we have um, our family, and then most part the foreigners here, especially Brazilian, they are doctor in Brazil, and then here they are building houses. They just are trying to keep their life safe, you know. 'Cause sometimes, like especially when you live in big cities like São Paulo, you like I have a cousin that he bought Harley Davidson.
Harley Davidson.
Harley Davidson. But he just drove one time because he's scared about somebody coming in the store, you
Mhm.
know. And then everything that we just want is keep saying, I know that for America, America is danger. Oh my gosh, he is so violent too. But if you compare about the Brazilian violence, all the criminals,
Hmm.
the criminals here in America, I'm so sorry to use this word, but it's like a chicken for
Right,
criminals in
right,
Brazil.
right,
You know,
right.
like because
Yes,
the
ma'am. Right.
criminals in Brazil, it's like is a doctor in crime. You know, so and then they are very, 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 very smart. Then when I saw some crime here in America, and some people so scared about this, and I say, really, I'm scared about this. This is nothing for us Brazilians. This is, we laugh because this is, and then most part of the Brazilian is here because we just wanna buy our car and they can drive our car, you know, open the door without to have any gun on your head. Open your business and make sure that nobody will come and steal you and kill your kids or your wife or your husband just for nothing. Because in Brazil, this is very, very, frequently common. But we have the doctors, you building apartments, building house, cleaning your house, and then just if the Americans is stop a little bit and they look for this woman or for this man and they start to talk with them, they will realize how smart is the foreign, sometimes more than Americans because some foreigners here, but like I have a friend that they already treat all the Europe and they clean some Americans' house that never leave America, and they just think that America is the unique place in the world. So it's it's fun. It is some I think
Let,
they
let me
think
ask you.
about this.
Let me ask your wife. Before you guys got married, so let's do a comparison and contrast. But before we do that, I want to ask our Guapo, how did we get here? How did we get to this current malaise that we have in America, El Guapo? How did we get here?
That is a great question. I would say that it's really a slow progression into deceiving our women to not listen to their men, to, you know, um,
Yeah.
disalign with the men that are in their community and stuff like that, and to, kind of seek advice and guidance from people from other cultures,
Mhm.
government and stuff like that. I don't want to make it political, but it's sad that it's come to that, because the second you step outside of our community, you see that, you know, that I can even speak on white women. I know this is very touchy, but I can speak on American white women. I've had American white women believe in me more than American black women, which is tough. And I've had two black wives. You know what I mean? So my Colombian fiance right now believes in me to no end, respects me to no end.
Mhm.
And it's sad to see that we're at a state where, you know, it's just there's such a chasm between the men and the women in our community,
Right,
and
right.
we've been telling them all along what we're looking for and what we need and stuff like that, and they just don't want to get on code with us. So how did we get there here? We could talk about the Civil Rights Act and all that stuff, and I'm sure you're very familiar with that. Today's Juneteenth and everything, but yeah, it's sad that it's gotten to this point, but we're getting to the point now that it's a tipping point. You know, if they don't get in line, they're going to get left behind.
Right,
Bars, you know what I mean? So,
right.
if they don't get their stuff together, they're going to get left behind.
Right.
Don't be a friend of mine and have gone to Brazil or have the option to go to Brazil with me and then have to come back and deal with an American woman, especially. And I love our sisters, but a Black American woman, just like Al was talking about, those women down there actually saw firsthand, and they realized, hey, we got to get our stuff together. There are so many women that don't realize that, and they're lost in the sauce, you know. So one of the major reasons I started my channel, and I'm not promoting my channel.
Oh no, you're fine. You're fine, brother.
Yeah,
go ahead.
Go ahead. Is because I have 3 daughters. You know what I mean? And I was having a conversation with my 11 and my 10-year-old today about how do you want to live in the future? And I was explaining to them, I want you guys to be excellent wives and excellent mothers. Before you want to be, you know, an astronaut this, or a famous person that, or a TikTok star this, or, you know, whatever else that. I want you to be excellent wives and excellent mothers, because life is about interpersonal relationships. And there's this individualism that has been pumped to the Black community, that especially to our women. And here's what I will give our women: fiercely loyal to a cause, good, bad, or indifferent, fiercely loyal. They will sit there and go down with the Titanic if they believe in something. And what we need to have happen is they need to believe in us. You know what I mean? Because like I said on the last broadcast that you and I were on together, you know, we are the #1 most sexually desired man on the face of this planet.
Oh, no doubt. I totally agree.
Without a doubt, man. Yeah.
I totally agree.
And Brazilian women see it. Colombian women see it. Watch. There's a channel that I love. I haven't watched it in a while, but it's called Dream Connections. And look at these brothers that are going over to Eastern Europe, to the Ukraine and stuff like that. Those white women love those Black men. I've had a Slovak girlfriend before, an Eastern European girl. You guys remember the movie Hostel? And they shot that, and it was in Bratislava, Slovakia. I've had a girl from there. You know what I mean? They love American Black men. So while, oh my gosh, LeBea, stop getting in the chat. Get home. You know what I'm saying? My girl don't know how to act. You're putting that ring in the picture. But anyway, you know, what ends up happening is not only have they deceived our women, they've tried to really keep the blinders on the men so that we can't see what's outside of our focused view. We can't view the periphery. You know what I mean? And the periphery is beautiful. Right. It really is. Right. You know, these women out here really do love us. And if you're a man that's just about being in your masculine frame and being on your purpose and stuff like that, and going and getting it and stuff like that, women admire that. They really admire that. Let me tell you something. Last thing, and I'm gonna let you speak. But you guys have heard tall, dark, and handsome for decades. Right. That does not apply to white men. Right. That is us. Yeah. You know, and that's forever. Yeah.
That's definitely me, because I'm 6'5".
Bruh, when I met kosher clinician, look, I'm 6'2", about 220. I'm like, who's this big old dude? I was like, man, why you? I'm looking up to him like this. You know what I mean? So
Black Moses.
You know what I'm saying? I was like, man, yo, and I can only imagine, you know, what the women thought when they encountered you down there.
Right. They were shocked. I mean? They were
exactly.
Shocked. I had a lot of people coming up to me like, God, you know, they were, you know, I don't know if they got a lot of shack, but you know, I had a lot of people, you know, kids, women, they was looking up to me, man, you know. And but I want to challenge your query, Beautiful Lies, El Guapo. You said that our women are fiercely loyal. I say they're only fiercely loyal to a certain type of man. I don't think they're just fiercely loyal by default to all Black men. I don't think so. What's your take on that, Al, and American Brazilian? What's your take on that?
My take on it from what I see right now, they're more loyal to Ray and Pookie.
Oh, Raekwon the Man. Actually, Raekwon the Man.
They'll go down in flames with them. But any brother that's about himself, that's trying to accomplish something, they'll take him through the ringer. And most of the guys that are part of the BMO crew, you see, they're good guys, man. They're from all backgrounds, from
very good guys, professional too,
legal, medical, all down the line. And we don't have any Ray and Pookies in the group, but most of the time you see them loyal. They'll stand by them to the end. But anybody that's trying to accomplish something and trying to do right, they'll take him to the ringer. Now, I will say this: a lot is from being in Brazil and seeing those black women out there in Brazil, and a lot of brothers got frowned upon that. I actually like that. Because it shows some initiative to saying, damn, where these men, why are they going over here? And came out there and saw that they couldn't compete. It was looking at them, them gorgeous women who fit, friendly, and feminine, and knew they had to come back and change had to go back and change their philosophy back in the States, whether they'll do it or not, because they come back here and feel they're more entitled here. But you start seeing now, a lot of them are going to the DR. A lot of them they're traveling. They're trying to figure out how are we losing out? How are we losing these good men? And seeing, going out there and seeing, and hopefully they'll come back and change their philosophy if they're smart. If not, they'll double down on it. And then they'll just, go get some Haagen-Dazs and cry in front of the TV and swole up and some more. And, really be out the ranks. But, try. I listen. I tell them to travel. Go see. You have to go see.
They see for themselves, right?
Who's beating you? Because you're getting beat right now. You're getting beat right now on that philosophy you're standing on. You're getting beat. Your man is leaving you. He is leaving you. He has his passport. He's been inspired, and all it takes is one trip. And don't go to Rio. If you go to Rio, it take half trip. That's it. You done. But you might want to go to some other place and here till you get to the motherland. And go see why you getting beat. Go see why you losing out. And hopefully, if you have daughters, you come back and you'll try to change that shit through your daughters and raise your daughters proper. I knew a brother, like I said, I knew a guy who's from Ecuador, and he was here working in the States. He sent his daughter through med school, and his daughter graduated. She's a doctor, and his wife was calling him, and I heard a little argument in Spanish. I asked, "What's going on? You all right?" He said, "No, my daughter thinks she don't have to learn how to cook and clean and take care of the household. I'm leaving. I'm going back there. I pay for education. I'm gonna get her in line." And another young lady was standing and said, "She's a doctor. She don't need to do all that." And he said, "How's she gonna take care of her husband? How's she gonna take care of my grandkids?
Right?
How's she gonna take care of my grandkids if she don't know how to do any domestic stuff in the home?" He told her to mind her business, and he got back on a plane to straighten his daughter out. And I said, "Wow." And I looked at her. That's why you're gonna be by yourself.
Right.
You're gonna be by yourself, and some of them will take Ray and Pookie on and pay their bail, and just to have somebody around them. And but most of them just went up by themselves.
And I tell men to totally divest. I don't know where the echo is coming from. Hold tight. But I tell men to totally divest. If they're not getting the desired outcomes that they want, I tell them to divest. Because, what I've learned in behavior modification, can you guys hear me? Can y'all hear me? Griez, you froze. Because what I've learned in behavior modification, if in a relationship where things are not balanced and where that's not what's called the equilibrium, if one party is giving and the other party is receiving, then it's positive reinforcement for one party and it's negative reinforcement for the next party. And so I tell guys to divest, ignore, divest, and don't give, because it's getting to the point where men are actually going their own way and they're running to get the things they want. And I want to thank El Guapo again. Thanks for the Cash App, El Guapo, and also thanks P Armor for the Cash App as well. At some point, guys, we want to bring ladies in. We want to bring in there, and the women out there listening. We want to bring some women in to this live Q&A. The question is, are Afro-Latin women the new Black woman, and are American women wife ready? Are American women wife ready to you, El Guapo? And if they aren't, tell me why.
It's a rarity, man. I've found a few American Black women that are wife ready, but it's literally a needle in a haystack. So I lived down in Atlanta for about 11 years, and I went through my first divorce down there and had a gap before I met my second wife, and plenty of beautiful women, but they were nowhere near wife ready. Nowhere near. You know what I mean? And you hear all these things about, oh gosh, I don't want to get into it, but just let's just talk about the basics. Are you even available to be an original wife? Are you sans children, without kids? You know what I mean? Rare in our community. There are a lot of babies mamas out here. Do you have an agreeable spirit? That is, here we go, kosher clinician. I'm giving you all my video topics, but I'm gonna give it to you right now.
Give it to me.
You ready for this? Check this out.
Give it to me.
So at my job, recently, beginning of June, the mask mandate for my job has gone away. Okay. So if you're vaccinated, you don't have to wear a mask anymore. And there's been a whole debate in our community about Black women smiling. You've heard this, correct?
Right. Heard about it, right.
So I said, well, El Guapo, check this out. How about you make it a point to smile at all Black women on your job? Not pushing the limit, anything like that. Nothing sexual. I have a fiance, but I have smiled at not just Black women, but Latina women, Asian women, and white women at my job. Hey, we make eye contact. I'm a good looking guy, I think. So that's what LaBea tells me. So I smile. You know what I mean? The response from the white and Latina and Asian women has been A1 awesome.
Right.
The level of disdain I get from these, can I speak plainly?
Go ahead, brother. The floor is yours.
These overweight, disagreeable,
combative,
fake hair, fake nails, not even in my league. You're lucky I'm allowing you to look at me.
No doubt.
Women.
Right.
Is disgusting.
Right.
Disgusting. It is so foreign to them to accept a smile, let alone give one, that it's just so sad, man. And like I said before, I'm not trying to change the world. I'm not Jesus. I can't save everybody. But if I can affect like 2%, I'm happy. But man, when it comes to our women, it's hard, man. It's hard. I don't see how people dedicate their platforms and their lives to this, the whole Hotep community, because it's so unappreciated. I've smiled easily in the last week, 50, 60 Black women, different Black women. My positive response has been less than 2%. That's rough, man. And I'm a 6'2", top percent of earners in the United States,
right?
And it's like, dude, what is wrong with you guys? And I honestly believe it's come down to, there's a serious self-loathing with our women. There is, and like Al Griez was saying, when you see the truth, you go to I don't know why those women were in Brazil. What were you doing? Somebody lied to y'all. But when you go down there in your one piece that you had to stuff yourself into, and the 6-year-old and the 70-year-old are all wearing bikinis because Brazil, Rio de Janeiro is the home of the bikini. You know what I mean? You got to feel out of place. And I just don't understand why you continue to go down that path of just digging this ditch deeper and deeper and deeper. At a certain point, you've got to turn around. So I have hope for our women, but I think it's going to be a little bit more of natural selection. I think the women that are true and proud fangirls are the ones that are going to make it. And these water buffaloes are going to be gone. That's it. You don't have an opportunity to reproduce with a quality dude.
Right.
You will become extinct, and that's it.
Right.
You know.
So, well, I don't see the tide turning, unfortunately. And what many don't understand, many men really want to make peace with women of African descent in the Americas, but they are so indoctrinated, they're so negative, they're so hell bent on competing with their man instead of cooperating with their man. It's caused that chasm, beautiful lies that you talked about. And so one of the greatest what I call shaming tactic that a lot of women actually try to subscribe to, and I want you to bring American Brazilian, beautiful Brazilian. I want you to bring your wife back on if she can. But it's the misnomer that Brazilian women are not black. And Brazilian women have a strong African heritage, just like women of color, and they're white red. How do you answer that misnomer, American Brazilian? And if your wife come back on, I want to add and let the audience know about the black presence in Brazil. And then also, El Guapo, I want you to talk about the Mestizos, the Morenos that are in Brazil.
But I apologize. My wife, she's took care of my son, so she's out.
Okay, if she can't, no problem, no problem, bro. Thank you. Tell her thanks.
Okay. As far as the, I think the first part of the question was the black presence in Brazil.
Mm-hmm.
Well, history, based on history, and I think this is a peer-reviewed study that said that 38 out of every load, I'll say it that way. I know it's a poor word to ascribe to what I'm about to say, of slaves that hit Brazil were dropped off in Brazil. So, which is why the black population in Brazil is higher than the Americans, because you know, if you drop.
Can you hear me? I think he fell off too. Somebody having.
I think he froze up. Yeah,
he froze. All right. So Al, let's talk about the black presence in Brazil. Let's talk about Bahia, Salvador. Let's talk about Bahia, Salvador, and the African. Yeah, go ahead.
I want to talk about behavior. I want to see.
Well, we can talk about that too.
Behavior. You see how we did there? Behavior. Bad choices. Bad behavior. Bad behavior.
Well,
bad choices was led to.
Yeah, go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
I apologize. I don't know what happened, but in any event, there was so many. So they multiplied and they multiplied and multiplied, which is why the black diaspora in Brazil is higher than there is in America. So the black presence in Brazil, it's so cool because they literally have their own culture. They have their own sayings, their own slang, their own language. So it's like very, very strong, very, very deep, and that's like throughout Brazil. Wherever you find, you know, the black community in Brazil, you're gonna find people that are doing their own thing. Now, I've not been to Salvador Bahia, but from what I understand, it's kind of like Atlanta on steroids. You know, it's just like so many brothers and sisters there in Salvador Bahia that are doing their own thing. So that population there, man, is just. I mean, it's just booming. But let me say something too, and I don't want to really go off topic based on the question that you posed to me before.
Yes, sir. No, you're fine.
Martin Luther King said something. He said that rioting is the voice of the unheard, right? So we've constantly been, and I think El Guapo, you touched on this. We've constantly said, you know, to our women, hey, look here, we need this, we need this, we need this, and we're not getting it. So the violence that we are displaying is an economic violence. So in other words, we're getting our passports, we're traveling, we're diverting our resources elsewhere, you know, and we're getting the results that we want now. So when we come back here, it's a different story. But yeah, I felt like I wanted to say that. I wanted to jump in when you had mentioned that, El Guapo, the last time when you were talking, but I didn't want to interrupt. But yeah, man, the presence there, man, it's really heavy, you know. And I honestly, I can't wait to tour different cities, different countries in Brazil, different states in Brazil. But yeah, man, the black population is really high in Brazil.
So you know, it's safe to say that machismo in Brazil and also machismo in Colombia, and I want you to touch on that, El Guapo, is the great equalizer that more or less put the women there in line compared to our women. What would you guys say about machismo? And would you say that machismo is a little too aggressive or abrasive? Because I was shocked. Your wife talked about how women get killed in that country. But what's your take on that, Guapo and American Brazilian?
So machismo, I heard years ago, and oh man, I don't want to get your video flagged, but I'm not going to say anything crazy.
Right.
But what I'll tell you is, I heard years ago from a Brazilian woman that Brazilian women will not respect you until you get physical with them.
Oh, wow.
I have a problem with that. You know what I mean? Because there's no match there or anything like that. But one thing I do know that they recognize is the more that you operate in your masculine, the more they are comfortable to operate in their feminine.
Right.
And over and over and over, I've tested that. I have a lot of like Brazilian buddies, and they're just laid back, man. That was your first trip to Rio, but Cariocas, people from Rio are pretty freaking laid back. They really are. Now, Paulistas are more business oriented and stuff like that. And you go to Salvador and Bahia and stuff like that, it's different. But people from Rio the guys are super laid back. I can name on like 2 fingers the number of times I've seen a guy from Rio argue with a woman. I just don't see it. So the machismo thing, now in Colombia, it's different. Colombia is very different. But the men are men in both places so much more than here in the United States, especially amongst Black men who are taught to, pedestalize and treat as deities their women. They don't do that down there.
Right.
A beautiful woman is a dime a dozen. And I was telling you last time, men will get rid of their girlfriends if they catch a cold in Brazil.
Right.
Brazilian men will do that. It is about their comfort and their ability to get what they want in the moment. No smoke or no judgment to them, but yeah, they don't play that, man. They really don't. But I've literally never seen a physical altercation. 15 years, a decade and a half, never seen a physical altercation between a man and a woman. I've seen a couple of beach fights between men, and I've seen the women get into it in the club. But between a man and a woman, and I've been in the favelas, in friends' homes and stuff, I just don't see it. I don't.
Al Griez, you've been to Brazil multiple times, and, some equate it to New York. And according to Pop Smoking Ghost, he said that the average lifespan of men in Salvador is 28, very dangerous there when he was a kid. What's your take on that, Al, based on your knowledge of the country?
I have no take. I mean, I have no take. I've always been there in transit. So I haven't lived there for a long length of time to really examine. To examine that right there. So usually when I go there, I really go there to relax and take in some more of the culture there. So the politics, I'm not a religious guy, so I don't get involved with religion. But most of the politics and all that stuff, I don't partake in that.
Right.
I was there when they were having I don't want to say they had a march. A lot of group of people were out. They were upset about cutting Social Security and paying for the college fund and stuff. So I've seen the people come out and gather, and they kind of do it in the unit, and just to show their displeasure about whatever situation and stuff that was going on there. So about the death rates and the average lifespan of men there, I can't attest. I don't have any info for that.
Right.
I will say, like Guapo said, most of the men there are really laid back, and a lot of the men there, when I travel there by myself, if I ran across a dude and he see me there by myself, he wants to introduce me to either his sister or his wife's sister. Come, don't stop eating at the restaurants. Come to my house. We can cook food for you. We show you a good time. And I'm being from New York, I'm a little taken back. I'm by myself. So, hey, Mom, we come out to the restaurant. No, man, my wife's sister's beautiful. oh, you're gonna love her, and come on in, and they really embrace you and as that family unit. And I used to be that way my first couple of years coming out, but now shit, come on, where she at? And go ahead, and usually you have a good time. So I love the culture there, man. I love the people. They're real laid back. I've never seen an altercation between man and woman. I've seen between men. I've seen two men get into it. I never seen two women. I seen two women fight too. I seen two women fighting, and but never a man and woman. And what startled me one time, man. You met my little lady friend out there. We were walking, and the first time we were walking, she reached down and grabbed my hand. So when she grabbed my hand, I thought something was on my hand, or she was trying to get in my pocket. And she looked at me like, "What's wrong with you?" I was like, "Why you grabbing my hand?" She said, "I want to hold your hand." And she went up to my arm, and as we were walking and stuff, and that energy, man, how that shit just calms you. I could feel my blood pressure dropping. I could actually feel it dropping.
Right.
And feel comfortable, man, because and I went to a coffee shop and just had some coffee. Just sit back and watch how many couples actually walk down the street holding hands, showing affection towards one another. From older couples, young couples, how they walk down the street, hold each other's hand, and I was taken back by it, man. I said, wow, and I went back and asked my sister. My sister had been married to her husband for about 30 years. And I asked her, when the last time walk down the street and hold hands? Hold hands? What do we hold hands for? I mean, we married, we got kids out. I just asked a question. No, we don't do none of that stuff.
If there are any ladies that are listening, feel free to come in and voice your opinion. But the question is, are Afro-Latin women more wife ready, and are they the new black woman? Al, what's your take on that? And then also,
well, like I said, I gave my take earlier. I'd love.
Oh, you did? Okay, I'm sorry. Okay,
I'd love to hit my Guapo, because my thing, I just broke it down and simplified it. One is in its natural state; they're organic. They haven't been feminized. Those countries didn't allow those feminine movements and stuff out there like that. So you see more in their natural state. Our women are all processed and delusional. And that was my take on it. But I'd like to hear from my Guapo, his take on that.
Sorry about that. It took me a second to get to the mute button. Are Afro-Latinas the new... What?
Afro-Latin women. I think you talked about. I
know the question. I'm reluctant to say the answer. The span of what American black women have to traverse to get to where Afro-Latina and just Latina women in general, like I said, I can only speak from my personal experience. I wasn't looking to get married. I'm doing good, man. Life is good, really good. You know what I'm saying? And the world is my oyster. And I came across my fiance, and she's such a value add to my life that I literally took a cost benefit analysis. And I'm like, yo, you would be a fool not to give her an interview. Really. And I feel like I interviewed her, and she passed with such flying colors. And it's just crazy to me how every time that I think that the bar can't get any higher, it gets higher. And women are stepping up to the plate. And unfortunately, it's not in our community. I said before, I will give an American black woman the first right of refusal when it comes to me.
Right.
And over the last decade, they have failed in exceedingly worse fashion. You know what I mean? So,
but if you look back at in the 60s, 50s, 60s, probably up to the 70s, it wasn't like that.
Exactly. We know where it started. Al, you and I know where it started, bro. You know what I mean? And if you want to get into the Civil Rights Act and the advent of child support and Section 8 and all that stuff, I'm with you. Daddy government moved in where the black man was the head of the household, and daddy government became the head of the household. I don't think that's a conversation you want to have, kosher clinician, but we know where it started. We got sold out for a government check.
No doubt.
The period, point blank. That's where it all started. And now you're at the point where that foundation has been laid from the millennials to Generation X from Generation X to the millennials to the zennials. So you've got 3 generations of women that are entrenched in this belief system. And that's the cognitive break that I was talking about. Mm-hmm. If you accept the fact that, your mother and your grandmother were on this BS and really sold out your men and got them out of the house for a couple of dollars, that's completely insignificant and has been more of a detriment to our generational wealth, then, dude, you're talking my language. The money side of it is my language. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? If you've done that, and then it's hard to come back and be like, we were so wrong to do this. So mm-hmm. I get why they don't want to do it, but that doesn't mean. I also get why the white person doesn't want to own up to, the sins of their slave owner ancestors. Mm-hmm. But that still does not excuse you from some level of responsibility. You see what I'm saying? So as the modern woman is here, and Black woman is looking and seeing like, hey, I think they see it. And the reason I think they see it is because there are always tells when there's some type of shame, guilt, or condemnation, personal condemnation, and I think that the perversion of the Black woman's look has deteriorated with the weave and the nails and the makeup and the fake lashes and all that stuff. That's mm-hmm. a form of self-punishment to themselves. But mm-hmm. the bottom line is, honestly, sweetheart, you're not meant to lead. That's not your job. And until you get in alignment with the men, you're going to continue to fail. I call it the choose to lose movement. You mm-hmm. are. I'm rooting for you. Mm-hmm. I want you to listen. I want you to get it. I want you to be happy. But you're not going to. And these Latina women, these Asian women, I know you don't want to hear it, but these white women are going to continue to kick you in your ass. And they are beating you to death on the playing field of getting a good man, especially a good Black man. You're getting destroyed out here. And it's sad. And this is why, Al, you saw those 2 Black women that I saw say, we got to get our shit together. And it's the truth. Yeah. And you don't even understand how stiff the competition is. You really don't. You've lived in your bubble so long. You don't understand. Man, Al, what'd you say? Half a trip to Rio? That'll do it?
Yeah.
Man, take your Black girlfriend to Rio. That'll really do it. That'll really do it. She'll either poop or get off the pot.
Listen, I shared the story. I don't know if I told you, Seven, but
go ahead, brother.
I went to Rio, I think for my birthday, by myself. My boys, I can't go. It's cool. I'm going. I went by myself, and my sister came and picked me up from the airport. And my sister owned a health food store mm-hmm. in her neighborhood where she actually lived, so she knew all the customers and stuff in there. So we went to Target, and she ran across one of her individuals shop at her store, and she said, a customer, excuse me. She ran across one of her customers, and they got to talking, and the customer, she looked at me. She said, oh, that's my brother. He just came back from Brazil. And she said, oh, my God, you ain't going to believe this. And I said, what happened? She said, Doris and this one, they shop at your store. She said, yeah. They went to Carnival they went to Rio for Carnival. And their husband disappeared and left them for 5 days. Left them for 5 days.
Oh, wow.
Up when it was time to go back. Flew back, got divorced. They got divorced. Him and his buddy went and flew right back out. Flew back out.
Are you serious?
Dead serious.
Oh.
Flew right back out. And she was sharing my sister that story. My sister looked at me and said, what the hell is going on down there? I said, women. It's women. Not the whole concept of a woman. Fit, friendly, and feminine. And I don't know the 2 women who they were married to, but as the girl was telling the story, they went down there for Carnival and they left their wives by themselves in Brazil for 5 days and showed up when it was time to go back on the flight.
Yeah, Guapo got to go in a minute, but yeah, they'll be singing that old gospel hymn, "Precious Lord, take my hand, lead me on, let me stand." But this has been an awe-inspiring show. I know you got to go in, Guapo, but I'm gonna finish with American Brazilian and Griez. But what have you gotten from this show, man? What would you share with the women that are listening? I wanted some women come on that are listening, but what would you share to the women that are listening about cooperation? I know you have to go, but what did you get from the show, and what would you share to the women that are listening?
Here's the thing. You have a choice. And this is the whole premise of everything that we're trying to do. For those Black men that are actually even willing to entertain a conversation with you, despite everything that we've gone through with you and what you've put us through. And this is not a blame. We're not victims. We're survivors of you.
Right.
Don't get it twisted. You know, you have a choice. And if you choose to lose, it's your fault. Nobody feels bad for you. Nobody's going to sympathize or empathize. Black men have been telling you what they've wanted for decades, and you choose to listen to everybody else but us.
Mm-hmm.
Now you're losing to your Latina counterparts, your Asian counterparts, your Caucasian counterparts, your Middle Eastern. Oh, them Middle Eastern women are beating you to death. Look at them Kardashians, beating you to death. You know, so if you choose to lose, it's your fault.
Mm-hmm.
How long do you continue to dig before you realize that you're like, you know what, maybe I should get up out of this hole.
Right.
Maybe my way is not working. So what I would say to the women is the information is there. My sister is a Black woman that is married, my younger sister, brilliant, owns a business and everything, but is submissive to her husband because I've got a good mother. Okay. And what I'll tell you is that if she can figure it out, you can figure it out. It's a choice. So if you choose to go down the path of, as O'Shea would say, weaving it up and sandaling it up and mink lashes and all that stuff, it's your fault. We don't want that.
Mm.
And that's it. If you want to continue to listen to the likes of these women out here that are telling you to level up and everything, despite your obesity level and all that stuff, we're at the point that we're giving you the information. Like my sister said, when you know better, you're supposed to do better. We're giving you the information. Do better. And if you don't, Kevin Samuel says, buy a dog, die alone. I say extinction. Your kind will go extinct.
No, you're 100% correct, man. You know, and you can't feed the narcissistic supply. You know, it's a narcissism that you can't feed. The more you feed it, the more you feed it. I say divest, walk away, man, and focus on yourself. But listen, man, I love you, man. Thanks for the cash out. And to the guys that are listening, it's about 19 in the building right now. Please like, share, and subscribe. Go check out El Guapo from Beautiful Lies. And also, if you like what I'm doing, please cash out 7 Smalls. We're trying to grow this channel. We're trying to grow this brand. We're trying to give you a concept from a clinical perspective on how to help men not suffer in silence and to give men options with movements like BMO and Brother Al Griez, and also testimonies from the American Brazilian and his beautiful, beautiful wife. So, El Guapo, thank you, brother. We will do this again. I love having you on, man. You always add great insight. And thanks again for the cash app. And once again, guys that are listening, please donate and share the channel with someone else, okay? Thank you, brother.
Guapo, pleasure, man. Pleasure.
We can't hear you. We can't hear you, Guapo.
My bad. I was on mute. Listen,
Right.
Al, it's great talking to you again. I got you on WhatsApp. We'll communicate. American Brazilian, it was great meeting your beautiful wife, my friend. Keep out there. Congratulations on the son. I took 3 shots. I got 3 daughters. So I'm envious. You know what I'm saying? Kosher clinician, you're doing the Lord's work, man. I appreciate you, brother. You know what I mean? Real fast, if you do look me up, for some reason my channel is still having problems being searchable, do Beautiful Lies channel, and it'll come up, okay? So I'll see you guys soon. Take care.
Okay. All right.
Peace, brother.
All right. So we're gonna wind it down in a minute. I know you look like you sleepy, American Brazilian. I wanted something
my phone is getting ready to
the die. Okay. All right. And I know Griez got to go in a minute. But I wanted some women to come on, but you know, I don't think they're going to come on. But it's all good. But you know, the good thing is, man, you found peace, and you look so happy, man. I can feel it, man. I can literally feel I can see the joy in your eyes, man. It's like your mood got elevated. And Griez talked about it when he was got with his friend. You know, he says blood pressure dropped. What did you learn when you compare and contrast the women you were dating with, you know, when it came down to the toxic attitude? What did you get? How did this change your whole life, man, more or less?
I think it changed my life because what I had been hearing, what I had been told with Charles Tyler, having conversations with him, what I had been seeing through my research and just asking questions was real. And not only was it real, but it was better than what I had been seeing and what I had been reading about and even what I had been told. You know, it's one thing, you know, they used to have a commercial way back in the day, is it live or is it Memorex? And it was a genuine article, man. It was just so reaffirming and affirming at the same time. I don't know if I can use those same words in the context, but it was just like the real deal. And to see people who were literally operating in what a lot of women here are looked down on, and that is traditional feminine gender roles. It was peaceful, man. I mean, they have this saying in Rio, "Tá tranquila," which is peaceful. Everything is just like peaceful. Everything is at ease. Everything is like kind of slow moving, and that's real, man. It was real. So there, in that the whole day life there was just completely different than anything that I had ever experienced here in America. I mean, it was just night and day.
Well, you know, time goes by fast when you have these shows. I want to talk about two things before we go. And I want to talk about two things. One is called Brazilian anxiety. Brazilian anxiety. A lot of women get in Brazilian anxiety when men travel abroad. And what was the backlash, Al? What kind of backlash did you get, man, when you traveled abroad? So let's talk about two things. Brazilian anxiety, meaning, you know, some women get anxious when, you know, men go to Brazil. And what was the shaming language or the backlash you guys got before we signed off in a few minutes?
Like I said, the biggest opposition was my close friends, significant others. Some were married, some was in relationships. And when I came back, and they would call me up, man, make sure I made it back safe. I got some good brothers, man, that I'm cool with, man. So, you know, they want to make sure first and foremost I came back and I was safe.
Mm-hmm.
And I could hear them in the background. And displeased the fact that they're talking to me and then really didn't want them talking to me, especially about Brazil and my experience in Brazil. Some of them, I let them have it. And one time I came from Brazil and went to Atlanta and got to ask some questions, and I just let them have it. I just let them have it. They want to smoke, I gave them smoke.
Right.
And, you know, they started choking on it. And you start choking on it. But my family, I have two other brothers that have traveled out there with me before we hung out before. Some of my cousins, my female cousins, you know, they were on why are you going out there? You're more on the question side. But my female cousins are good women. And they're both married. They're both married to great individuals, and they're submissive to their husbands.
Mm-hmm.
And they have great relationships and been married for, decades. So I told them they're excluded from this conversation. But, you know, they don't want to keep it real. They don't want to keep it 100% real. And you see the way some of the women out here are acting and the way some of their close friends and some of their other family members. So they don't want to get into that and trying to excuse them for their behavior. They don't really want to get into that. So my experience of it overall, man, has been great. I've met, became part of the BMO, so I met tremendous brothers from E, Gerald, Raphael, my man Mo Brown,
Philly McFly,
Terry Doyle, yeah, Philly, all these guys, man, we have a nice little network going. So from that and meeting these guys, man, I'm glad that I actually went out there and made the trip, man, because we got my man D'Angelo, my man DJ out here in New York. So we got a nice little network, man, and great guys. And you know, and part of the Frustrated 3, I asked some of the guys, how are you single? How are you childless? How are you single? And they just said, man, you know, from military background to police enforcement and all that, I just didn't meet the bill of the standards of the women that I was interacting with. So I saw your film and took my show on the road, and I've never been happier. This is it for me.
Right.
So,
Right.
response overall has been great, man. Like I said, when I go out there, I feel healthier, man. My blood pressure, all that stuff drops. I have a good time, and I just come back here, put my head down and grind, and looking forward to the next trip in November. Going back out there in November.
Well, we're gonna get your wife the next time.
No. Let me do what I'm doing. I'm okay.
I was playing with you, man. I was playing with you.
Listen, like I tell you, I do my own grocery shopping. I don't need nobody shopping for me. I do my own grocery shopping.
What you said, boy, or to bang. Hey. Hey, so American Brazilian, thank you, man. And I'm gonna let you go in a minute. I know you guys go. Thank you for coming on, man. I'm gonna bring you back again at some point. Maybe a couple of guys are a little lazy tonight because of Father's Day, but you know, men are not celebrated in America, you know, and that's why I started this show. That's why I work so hard with this content. It's very time consuming. You got your own YouTube channel. Go check out him at the American Brazilian. It's very time consuming. Oh my God, this stuff is time consuming. But I do it for the love of the brotherhood. I do it because I want to liberate men. I do it because I believe in men like Griez, and I believe in men like yourself and El Guapo. And I believe that men should have options to live their lives on their own terms instead of being what I call the commodification of subjugation, meaning they are subjugated to the whims of selfish, entitled women. They don't come to serve, but they come to be served. Let's talk about the Brazilian anxiety that a lot of women in your family experienced. And then also, what kind of shaming language did the women use towards you when you met your current beautiful wife now?
Oh my goodness. I think the anxiety was, it was more combativeness, almost like, is this person, you know, like, are they better than me? They looked at it as, it's like they were defensive, you know, so based on what they heard, they already knew me coming, you know, having gone over there, coming back over here. They were very defensive because they realized something that we hear in the manosphere a lot of time. They had to compete. So based on what they heard. Now, as far as my family with my current wife, I think for them, they were apprehensive seemingly because they felt like it happened kind of quickly. But then when they got a chance to meet her, they definitely warmed up because they were like, wow, you know, she's super friendly, you know, she's super kind. So many of them saw what I saw, but initially they were a bit apprehensive, so much so do I have family in Atlanta, and they literally put her in a tribunal to see what are your intentions, you know, and she held her own, you know, and they just fell in love with her. But people who were not my family, some of them tried to throw that, you know, low-key shame, insults, guilt, need to be right, that type stuff. You know, all the women over there are this, that, and that. And of course, that's most of that's their thinking. You know what I'm saying? Based on what they've been told here. But I think a lot of people were defensive when they felt that they had to compete based on what they understood about Brazil. Because when you talk about Brazilian culture and Brazilian people, you can't say Brazilian people without having beauty somewhere in the conversation. So, you know, that's kind of their standard. You know, they present themselves well when they go out. And here it's a little bit different. It's a lot more accessories. Whereas there it's a lot more natural, and anybody that accessorizes to kind of overcompensate for what they lack in natural ability, they're going to be a lot more combative to somebody who they feel is more natural. So that's kind of what I experienced.
Tight. Right, okay. Right. So the good thing is, man, you know, you are moving forward in your life. You're getting the outcomes that you want. Al Griez and his movies and productions is liberating a lot of men. I found out about frustrated through Charles Tyler as well. It was an excellent documentary. And I've had the honor to be in the new movie coming up, and I'm grateful that Al brought me in it. Al, do you want to tell the audience about your? I know you want them to pay for it, but do you want to give them a quick snippet about what to look for in Frustrated 3, or you want to keep it secluded? If so, I understand.
No, I don't give him nothing. I gave him a lot in Frustrated once. So if you're gonna pay for it,
he's gonna pay for it.
Yeah,
I agree. The game is to be. I agree. The game is to be sold.
Right. No, I agree. No.
Yeah, you go pay what you owe this round. You'll find a way to get me the first one, but the second one I was able to secure it, and same I'm gonna do with the third. I'm gonna go ahead and secure it, but I'm gonna have in the next couple of weeks coming up, man. I'll have some information available, and Frustrated 2. I'm just gonna put it out there, put the information out there, and if anybody feels that the product was impactful, I just ask just cash up a little donation on it if you feel it was worthy of that. So that's just
how can they find Frustrated 1 and Frustrated 2? You said it's on Vimeo, right?
Yeah, Vimeo, and you can go on my website, Griez Films.
Griez Films.
GriezFilms.com. Mm-hmm. And the links and stuff are on there for that. And like I said, in the next coming week, how smoke goes. I appreciate that, brother. Thank you. So Frustrated changed his life, and it was a breath of fresh air. And that's what I appreciate. I appreciate that, man, and meeting American Brazilian and him sharing his story, how Frustrated played a role in his life as well. It makes it worthwhile in the projects, even though monetarily I didn't get what I wanted from it, but reward always sometimes it comes later. It comes later in life. So the product is successful. It changed lives. People appreciate that about me, and they send me DMs, whatever, showing love that the fact that I made a contribution in their lives outside of my own immediate family, man, that's a tremendous accomplishment. And I don't think a lot of people could say that. So I'm one individual that can say that based on my work that I've made and an impact in somebody else's life besides my own immediate family. So I'm grateful for that, man. So hopefully Frustrated 3 will continue to do that and play a bigger role and hopefully create more dialogue and get people talking. And, we'll see what happens from there. So I just want to thank American Brazilian. Thank your wife for coming on and sharing her experience as well.
Excellent. It was excellent, man. Yeah, right.
Yeah. It was our pleasure. Excellent. It was our pleasure. It was an honor just to be amongst you guys, man. Thank you for having me.
Right. I appreciate it, brother. I want to have you back again, man. And Al Griez, thank you for everything, man. I started this project with you to be in the movie Frustrated 3, but also to take anecdotal evidence to share with the men in America, because a lot of times people won't believe it unless they see it, how fortunate a lot of the women are in America, but also for the men to understand that they don't have to tolerate the disrespect and the lack of cooperation with some of the behaviors that we see in America. So we're about to sign off in a few minutes, less than 2 minutes. Al Griez, thank you again. He's the filmmaker, independent filmmaker of Frustrated 1, Frustrated 2, and Frustrated 3. And we have the qualitative evidence from the American Brazilian and his beautiful wife. What's her name now?
Talita.
Talking about how, Brazilian culture is and how the men there, I keep telling the women here, the men there don't play. I don't think they understand it, but she said it was dangerous. They don't play. They'll hurt you there. And I'm not saying this right. We're not condoning violence. We're not condoning violence. Let me clarify that.
But I understand. I understand. I don't condone it, but I understand.
Man, you're going to hell, man. but anyway, man, thank you guys, man. I love you guys, man. And we're about to sign off. Let me see these last comments. And also, guys, I need you guys to help me. Help like, share, and subscribe to the Kosher Clinician. I'm trying to grow this channel. I'm trying to grow this brand. It's not too many people that are doing what I'm trying to do as it relates to mental health awareness. I'm going to start consultations at some point. And I'm trying to do more to help impact men and talk about mental health challenges that we have in the Black community, because a lot of times mental health is a stigma in the Black community, but we want to reduce that stigma. So once again, go subscribe to the Kosher Clinician. If you like what we're doing, Cash App 7 Small. So we're about to sign off. It's about 40 minutes after the hour of 11 o'clock. We're going to sign off. And once again, thank you for the brothers that were involved. And let's come back next Saturday and have a good show, guys. You guys be well. Talk to you later, right?
All right.
Peace, brother.
All right, be good. All right.
4 in the morning, you got me up, all cause you need to talk. To 4 in the evening, wanna break up, say that you've had enough. I'm tired of talking, again and again, argue about everything. You are my darling, this kiss and make up, I know you wanna touch. You call me every night, call me every day, I just wanna get you alone now. Trust me when I say